Hey guys, I'm back with another video. Today we're going to talk about the Great Eastern Cutlery 92 Eureka Jack. I have two different knives here. One of them is outside of the tube. This is the Maroon Micarta 2013 version of the 92 Eureka Jack. That is the last time I remember this pattern being run. I should have looked it up before I started the video, but I believe that was the last time the pattern was run in this configuration. I know they did some single blades maybe about 2015 or so, but in the double blade configuration, two blade configuration. So what do I have over here in the tube? This is one of the new versions, and you can see here that this is, if it'll focus, let's see. Sorry guys, there we go. This is the antique calico jig bone from TSA Knives. I got number 23. I have not taken this out of the tube. This is a special factory order by TSA Knives, like I just said. Picked this one up just because I thought the calico bone would be interesting. So jigged calico bone would be interesting. So I ended up picking one up. Here, this is apparently a certificate of authenticity. They used to put these in the tubes with the older Great Eastern Cutlery knives. This appears to be a special factory order slip. I don't know. Yeah, see, this was signed by TSA Knives, TSAK, LLC. So I'm assuming this was added after the fact. But that's a pretty cool touch. One of 100 knives. Well, I tell you what. Let's look at this knife first. So this, as I said, is the Maroon Micarta, and I'm going to try to get it to focus. There we go. This is the Maroon Micarta, and you can see it's a very dark color, but it is maroon. You can see, look at how those springs are. Everything is flush. The springs, the liners, the cover, everything is finished very nicely on this knife. You can see here that spring termination is very nice. The centering is very nice. And you have both of the blades with the nail nick on the same side. That is one of the changes that did happen on this run. The blade and nail nick are, for the coping blade, are on the other side of this knife, the new knife. So you can see here, there's a coping blade. Nice looking blade, very useful blade for opening boxes, trimming your nails if you do that kind of thing, cleaning your nails, getting into tight spaces, anything like that. Here you have the main blade, which is a spear blade with that little bit of a drop point. And you can see I have stropped this one up. That edge is kind of reflective. And you can see this was made in 2013. Now, how these numbers work, 92 is the pattern, which is the Eureka Jack. The 2 stands for the number of blades. The second 2 stands for the spear point blade, the main blade, which is spear point. And then the 13 stands for the year, which is 2013. There is a half stop here on the main blade. The walk and talk is pretty good, but this is not a strong spring knife. I'd say it's maybe a 5, 4.5 or a 5. The coping blade also has a half stop. So let's open this all the way up. So you can hear it there. And you know, it does have pretty good walk and talk, but that is the 2013 version. Now, let's take this 2019 version out of the tube. You already saw the certificate of authenticity. I've noticed, starting with, what knife was that I got here recently? Man, I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, I noticed that GEC has started putting these desiccants in their tubes, which is pretty cool. We've got the wax paper here, which is pretty standard affair. And there is the knife. So let's put this stuff over to the side before we get into the knife. I'm going to slide all of this stuff back in here and put the cap back on the tube, because this knife is going to go in my pocket for work tomorrow. So antique jigged calico bone. You can see here, calico bone usually resembles something more like this. It's usually a smooth bone, and that bone is usually, there we go. That bone is usually kind of splotchy, you know, a little bit white, a little bit brown. So you can see there's a little bit white, a little bit brown. You can see they have the hot dog shield on here, which is always a controversy amongst the guys. Guys don't like the hot dog shield. As I said, you can see that this primary blade is to the front. There is a nail nick here. There is a half stop. You can see that there is an etch here. TSA Knives, LLC, SFO, 1 of 100. You can see the stamp here. If I can get it to focus. It says Titty Cutlery. Titty Cutlery made in the U.S. And you can see that they also used to do this back in the day. They stamped the bolster with the number from the run that it is. It's serialized is what they call it. And this is number 23, as you saw. Again, you can see the color on that bone. It's a little dark, a little bit light. You can see the other one was all steel. This one is brass and steel, but it still has that very, very smooth transition. Let's see. Let's feel these cover to end to bolster transitions. Smooth there. Can't feel anything. Smooth here. Smooth there. Maybe a little something on this corner. Yeah, just a hair. This side is pretty smooth. And this side is pretty smooth. So what do we have here? 8 transitions. 7 of the 8 are very smooth. Let's look at how the blades terminate here. Very well centered. The spring is very squarely cut. The centering on the coping blade is very nice. The termination of that spring is also very square. And as I already mentioned, there are brass liners here and there are steel springs, obviously. So the nail nick on this side, I would say the pull is very similar to the 2013 version. Maybe about a 4.5 or a 5. There is a half stop. It does need to be flushed out a little bit. The action's a little bit slow. And as I said, you can see here on the back side, there is a nail nick. So the nail nicks are opposing as to on this knife, you've got both blades on the same side and you've got both nicks available to you on the same side, which I prefer this. This isn't bad, but this is just my preference. So you've got the main blade here with the unobstructed nail nick, which a lot of people say that this is a little bit of an issue, but it looks worse than it really is. You can get your thumb in there and get it out, no issues. On the other side, you can see here, we've got another coping blade. There's also a nail nick here. Let's look at the bone real quick before we open this up. You can see there is that bone. This side looks a little bit lighter down here towards where they polished and ground the covers to match those bolsters. There's a half stop. You can see here we've got GEC carbon, CAR. And on this side we don't have anything. And you can hear that nice walk and talk. Again, it could stand to be flushed out a little bit. The action's a little bit slow. I don't know that I showed you guys the other side of this blade. Again, you see the 92, which represents the pattern, the 2, which represents the number of blades, the 2, which represents the main blade, which is a spear blade, and then the 19, which represents the year. So overall, very nice fit and finish. I'm just checking here. In one of my last videos that I did, one of my buddies told me it looked like the blade was a little bit warped. So I'm just looking to try to catch some of this light. And I don't see any distortion of the light across this blade here. So I don't think this blade is warped. I don't remember if the other one was warped because I shipped it off not too long after I made the video. So these are the 92 Eureka Jacks. This one being the 2013 version with both the nail nicks on the same side, the main blade in the front of the coping blade, and this is the 2019 version, which also has an end cap. Some people didn't like the end cap. They wanted them with naked ends, as they call them. But I like them both. I think they both have their pluses and their minuses. I'm going to enjoy carrying both of these. This one here, I'm going to put in my pocket tomorrow and carry it around. Let's see something. One last thing. I want to see if they changed the profile of this blade at all. No, they look pretty similar. I think they're pretty much the same. Maybe a little more drop to the point, but they look pretty much the same. So anyway, that is the 92 Eureka Jack by Great Eastern Cutlery. I appreciate you guys watching. Remember, a lazy man carries a dull knife.